Hello and welcome to Two Old Farts. We're having some kind of technical difficulties. Tommy's trying to connect and hasn't been able to. So, Alec, how about joining me until I can get Tommy on here? Any rate, this is our first show, and of course, it starts off with a problem. I don't know why. I have not figured it out. But any rate, I'm Michael Powell, but for the sake of this show, I'm Mikey. And why? Well, Tommy once told me that he calls himself Tommy instead of Tom because it makes him sound younger. So I'm Mikey. Now I sound younger. I know I don't look younger, but I sound younger. I mean, I feel younger. Whatever. Any rate, what we were going to do was tell you a little bit about ourselves and see what could possibly come from that. So I'll start with me, and hopefully Tommy or Alec can get on here and we can have a conversation. Any rate, the thing is, I was born in Tampa, Florida, at the Air Force Base here because my father was a career Air Force officer, and we lived all over the United States. When I joined the Marine Corps, I've lived all over the world. So when I came back from the Marine Corps, I returned to college and became a mortician. And that's what I did for 26 years. Actually, I met my wife as a mortician. So I like to tell people that I met my wife at work. Her first husband passed away, and she came to me to take care of him. So, at any rate, I practiced in the San Francisco Bay Area for some time, and then I moved to Canada and bought a funeral home up there because in one of our trade journals they were looking for morticians to work in the outback. And where I went was definitely in the outback. It was 8 hours north of Vancouver. And we practiced there until, for 8 years. And then I had a heart attack, and Canada's rules are you can have a work visa as long as you can work. So they told me I had to leave. I sold the mortuary, and we returned home. We moved back to Tampa because that's where my wife wanted to come, and that's where my family is. She didn't want to return to California, where she's from. And we came to Tampa. And then, unfortunately, I lost my wife, and I was having problems dealing. On YouTube one day, came across the ECAM site and the ECAM program, started watching a lot of that, and got involved. Started watching Doc Rock and Alec Johnson and Tom Buck and a bunch of others. And I tried to put things together the way I thought they should be, and hopefully I've done something right. Most of what I've done here is thanks to Doc and Alec, because without them I wouldn't be here today. I do want to thank all of those that are here for coming, Jeff and Alec and Caleb, and that's it. That's all I see in the comments. It says that there's 6 people on. I truly appreciate all of you coming. Any rate, so where was I? Oh, came back, got started on ECAM and dealing with Doc on the internet and going to his drop squad classes on Saturday nights. I kind of built up my courage and went live for the first time. Since then, I've put up a lot of pre-recorded, but haven't done much live. And I came across Tommy in the ECAM drop squad classes on Saturday night. And we joked back and forth, and he said something about we ought to do a live stream together, Two Old Farts. And so anyway, we talked about it, played around with the idea, and that's where this came from. And that's why we're here. why? Oh, also from Doc Rock, I learned that it's a good idea to put up 100 videos in 100 days to get used to using the camera, the microphone, and hopefully getting on with the shows. And so I have. During Vlogmas in December, I put up 31 videos. But on the 8th of December, I started a new project called Today in History with the idea that that would give me 365 videos in a year. It just says, Alec, that's the same thing Tommy's getting. I don't understand what the problem is. It's the same length as you used last night. Let me try something else. Hold on. I've got some things turned off. Maybe they need to be on. Tommy or Alec, give it another try. Otherwise, I have no idea what's going on. Any rate, where was I? Oh, I've gotten to the point where I have 82 episodes of Today in History, and of course the 31 from Vlogmas. So that actually gives me 113 videos, but I'm not counting the Vlogmas ones as far as doing 100 in 100 days, because with the Today in History, I should be able to do 365 in 365 days. Try switching to interview mode off and then on again, all right? All right, I've done that. I got Alec. Thankfully, I got someone. Well, in order to have Alec, I have to put him in here. Can you hear me okay, Alec?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yes, yeah. But perhaps Tommy might want to retry, because whatever you did just seemed to work. So
yeah, well, hopefully he will, because
I don't want to gate crash your show.
no, and besides that, you're not Tommy. There you go. Come on, Tommy, give it another try. I don't know what happened, except that I've had the computer running for about an hour all set, and Tommy and I were supposed to get together at 4:30 and make sure we had all the scenes set up properly and whatnot. And he kept trying to get on and couldn't. So I don't know what the problem is. So, at any rate, as I was telling everybody, thanks to you and Doc, I'm here today. And, trying to figure out what we wanted to do with this show. I have to bring up my little... hopefully we wanted to inspire people that were not streaming or were not using something like Ecamm to get on and give it a try. And predominantly, we wanted to approach the older generation, my generation and Tommy's generation. Here we go. I have Tommy. Do you mind?
I will drop off. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alec.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Let me drop you off here.
I'll hang up.
We wanted to do with this show. Hello. I have to bring up my little... hopefully we wanted to inspire people that were not streaming or were not using something like Ecamm to get on and give it a try. And predominantly, we wanted to approach the older generation, my generation and Tommy's generation. Tommy. Here we go. I have Tommy. Do you mind?
I will drop off. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alec.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Tommy, where are you? Drop you off here. I'll tell you what. I'm hearing all myself way delayed. Hello. Bring up my little... Hey, Tommy, are you there?
I am.
I don't see a picture.
Well, Let me get a camera running. How
Oh, there
about
you
that?
go. There you go. Hey, folks, I want you to meet my partner, Tommy Ellison, who's only 13 minutes late. And I'm sorry for all the problems, folks, but you know, if something can go wrong, it will. And that's what happened. And
Well, you know,
I'm not sure what it was.
there was a movie called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels where Steve Martin was at odds with Michael Caine, and they were pulling a scam on a lady trying to get her money, and so Steve Martin played the part of Ruprecht, who lived in the dungeon, and that's kind of the way I've been feeling the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Old Tommy, Mikey's partner's living in the dungeon. I couldn't get in. I couldn't get in, Michael. I don't know what the deal was.
Well,
And I finally went to my phone and I saw where you and Alex were live. So I restarted my Mac, and that's why it took me a little bit longer to come back to you, because I had to
well,
relaunch everything.
as I say,
So
I don't know what the problem was. Now you lost your picture again. Oh, there you are.
I'm good. I've lost a camera on the overhead camera, so we'll put that one on Plan B for right now and just stay with
Okay.
this camera.
Okay, that's
But
fine. Any rate,
hey, good afternoon.
yeah, good afternoon. Gretchen and Caleb and Jeff and Alec, who was kind enough to come in and fill your spot temporarily till we could get you on. But like I said,
Boys,
I have no idea what happened. But Caleb said I should try turning off the interview mode and turning it back on, and I did, and it finally came through. So we'll have to remember that in the future, because you should have been able to come on prior to the opening. And I think that was the problem. I will keep that in mind for our next show. Any rate, as I was trying to say to the people, that we initially started this to kind of inspire people, especially people of our generation, and let them know that they all have what it takes, and they're not too old to learn. So, any rate, that was one way, that age isn't a hindrance to learning anything. Anybody can learn something if they want to, if they'll put enough effort into it, and show people how we use Ecamm, because of the fact that Ecamm is what's producing this. Yes, Jeff, I am using the beta version. And Carlos, thank you so much. Carlos says we look and sound great, and that's what we've been hoping for. We've had a few issues come up trying to get this show started. Some of it was calendar issues that came up that we couldn't do anything about, and other was technical issues. And in fact, I only got the last technical issue straightened out last night when Alec was kind enough to come on with me and help me make sure I had the setting going well. And he did, and apparently we're coming across fine.
and where else but Ecamm community can you find that kind of support from the other side of the world to
I
help you out with a
No place.
situation like that?
And in fact, it was very early morning for him, and he still was willing to come on and help, because he's 12 hours ahead of me. But at any rate, I had something else I was going to say about. The Ecamm community has been great. They've been fantastic. I find them to be very friendly and helpful. But one thing I just don't understand, I posted the fact that we were going to go live in the live VIP group, and I tried to post it in the Ecamm live group, and again, they blocked it. And I don't know how I can, advertise that we're coming live to more than just the people in the VIP group. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know, because I put up the same ad in both groups and got a notification that they blocked my ad in the Ecamm live group, and I'm using Ecamm.
I have an idea about that, Mikey.
What's
I
that?
have an idea. Well, you know how when you go to Disneyland, there's those signs that say you must be this tall to ride this ride.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Well, there's a sign on the ECAM thing that says you must be this young to be a participant on this channel. And that's where we say, oh, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
We don't
yeah.
have to. We're, where is it? We're just two old farts in the wind, but we're not too old to do this. And I don't think we have to be too young. Caleb says he was invited via Discord, and I didn't put anything in Discord. I don't know how it got in there. But I appreciate it, Caleb, and I certainly appreciate you coming. First time Tommy and I have done anything like this. And, one of the other things is we were hoping to pick up some subscribers and some likes and whatnot, because in our own personal shows, we're not getting a great deal. I only have 25 subscribers. One more and I'll have 26. And I don't know how many Tommy has on his.
I think, I don't know, maybe two. And one
Yeah.
of them's my wife. So, you know, but, you know, we need to get monetized, Mikey, because, you know, this was our pension plan. We were going to make money on YouTube. And, you know, we need some subscribers, and I'm just making this up as I go. You know good and well, this is not the reason we're here.
Well,
we're
here-
here because,
Here we go.
Well-
Let's monetize with this. You could buy Gage, my little furry buddy, a bone.
you know what?
And-
How does that help me, Mike? Do I get a bone or what?
Well, the bones are $1 a piece. I'll give you 50 cents.
Oh, okay. All right. 50-50. That's not a bad split.
Yeah, well, hell no. Hell no.
That's less than less than my agent makes. But anyway, if I had an agent,
Yeah.
so.
Oh, tell us a little bit about how you got into magic, Tommy.
Well, it's a long story, but I'm going to make it a short story because I don't want to go one of these marathon live streams like some of those guys do. But when I was in college, I was actually working as a youth director at a church, and we had a great big what was called a bus ministry. We picked up kids and brought them to Sunday school every Sunday morning. And because of the size and the magnitude of our community, we would pick up every Sunday about 500 kids. And so our pastor did not want all those kids in the main worship service when it came time for that part of the morning. So they put them all in the old chapel that we called Children's Church. And there were, like I said, 600 kids in there every Sunday. Well, you can only play Kumbaya and Happy and You Know It so many times to hold their attention. And so I started looking around for any way to keep those kids occupied for an hour and pray that the pastor didn't go long on the sermon. And so I was downtown Birmingham, and I stumbled into a magic shop. And the magic shop owner there was a pretty savvy guy. He recognized what I was up to. And of course, him wanting to sell stuff, he immediately gave me some ideas. And so that was kind of how I got started, was doing magic tricks, somewhat as object lessons, in many cases just to hold their attention for a little while longer, waiting for the buses to roll out. And then from that, it kind of grew. I started doing some bean suppers and banquets, you know, for youngs and senior adults, as well as, you know, teenagers and adults at churches. And next thing you know, I'm being asked to do some stuff at what I call secular groups. And then I got involved with close-up magic, which is that kind of magic a lot that you see on America's Got Talent and Penn and Teller Fool Us, where it kind of happens right in front of you and not on a stage, so to speak. And I was working in a restaurant, and in that restaurant, I saw an old friend of mine. In fact, I got so good at it, or so I was so enchanted by magic, that I actually tried to make a living doing it for a while. And one of the gigs that I had on a regular basis was a restaurant gig, going table to table doing strolling magic. And maybe some of you have been in that type of situation. But anyway, long story short, my high school, I went to high school with a girl, and I saw her dad in this restaurant. And he said, "Hey, Tommy, enjoy the magic. What are you doing these days?" And I said, "Well, I'm a magician." He said, "No, I'm talking about your real job." And I said, "Well, that is my real job." And so I came home, and I told my wife at the time, I said, "Hey, I ran into Joe Beck, and he actually asked me if I wanted to go to work for him. And he sells wood flooring." And she said, "Well, what'd you tell him?" And I said, "Well, no, I told him, no, I'm a full-time magician." And she said, "Well, you ought to talk to him." And so, you know how women are, man's the head of the house, but the woman is the neck, right? And if the head or the neck turns, the head just goes right along with it. And anyway, I wound up meeting him again, interviewing with his boss, and I got a job selling hardwood floor to the residential flooring market. And from that, I met people that were in the athletic flooring market. And, you know, fast forward 40 years later, I'm finishing up somewhat of a career in the flooring industry, but more so the athletic flooring industry. So it kind of was magic that got me involved in what was ultimately my career choice. But it's always been a hobby. And now that I'm semi-retired from the flooring industry, I'm trying to do a little bit more magic with the corporate market. So does that answer your question? Because I hope so. I sure spent a lot of our time if I did.
That's okay. No, it answered me. In fact, Caleb had a good question. He was curious, I guess in church, were you able to turn the water into wine?
You know, that's about the millionth time I've been asked that question. That, and can you make my wife disappear? You know, no, I try to stay away from those miracles of a semi-religious nature, Caleb. And, just did SpongeBob's and bunnies and out of my hat. But anyway, but thank you for your question.
Yeah. And so everybody knows that I live in Florida, and you live in Birmingham, Alabama.
Correct.
And right now it's 82 degrees here. That's 28 degrees Celsius for you, Alec. And but it's 48 in Birmingham.
Yeah. You know, the easiest way to convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius, other than looking at your Apple Watch, is you just cut the temperature in half and you add a little bit to it, and that's usually the Celsius number. So,
usually, you think?
Yeah, it's pretty close, But you know, I wanted to share with this group though one other thing that we were chatting about earlier, Mike, and that's how I come to be involved with Ecamm, and really being a Mac guy from back in the early '80s. I always look for other technologies with the Mac in my job in marketing and editing and that sort of stuff. And I ran into a video on YouTube by Adrian Salisbury. I call him Salisbury Steak. And anyway, I was pretty fascinated by what I was seeing and the ease of which most of it's done, unless you're trying to go live. Like today. But I got involved with Ecamm that way. But then one day, and I think it was in Vlogmas maybe 2 years ago, I'm doing videos like we all are. And Alicia Way was kind of critiquing the videos that were coming in, along with DJ Strick, who also lives here in Birmingham, by the way. We had lunch just recently. But Alicio made a comment after watching my video. I think I did a magic trick. He said, "You know, I'm always impressed by these guys that are sitting around in the home waiting to die and what they can do." And I'm like, wait a minute, who are you calling an old guy in the home waiting to die, man? And so we had a lot of fun. We went back and forth with it, but it gave me the idea that you know, if I could find someone that's close to my age uh, and do a show like so many of you guys are doing, I think that would be really cool. And that was kind of the genesis or the germ that stimulated my mind to, and eventually Mike and I found one another via the study hall community, and so here we are, maiden voyage. We hit a little bit of an iceberg coming out, but we'll be all right.
No, no. I'm going to tell everybody we did that on purpose so that we could show them that mistakes happen and you still carry on, as Doc would say.
It's live. It's
It's
live.
live. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I kind of like it being live. It gives us a chance to interact with the people that are watching and that leave comments, as opposed to most of the videos I put up, which are recorded. And occasionally I get a comment from those. Of the 82 Today in Histories that I've put up, I've had 445 views, so that's not too bad.
Have you done 82 days in history?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, 82.
Wow.
82. And as I explained earlier, and you may not have heard it because I can't remember if you're on, I started it because of Doc's suggestion that do 100 videos in 100 days to get used to the system, to get comfortable with talking, to feel good about being on camera and looking at a camera instead of the thousands of people that could be watching. And so I decided I put my old mind together and tried to figure out what I could do, and came up with Today in History, because there's a lot of history out there that happens in the past on each day of the year. I mean, there's tons of stories I look at, and then I pick the one that I think is easiest to do and find some pictures to go along with it so that they aren't just listening. And anyway, 82, and as I had said earlier with the Vlogmas, that made it 113 because I did 31 of those. So actually I've done 131 videos, but I'm not counting the Vlogmas because that's over with, and although they weren't live anyway, but 82. So
great.
not too many more, and I'll have the first 100 of those up. But
I've got a little over 100 now, Mikey, but unfortunately about 75 of them I forgot to hit the go live button, so they're really just out there in the nether world. They never got aired. So just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is, and this is true in life, just like it is with live streaming, is you can't live your life based on what might happen, you know?
Exactly.
And you can't quit live streaming just because, you know, you might have an issue, you might have a problem. And that's been very apparent to me in the last 2 years during this pandemic. You know, we cannot live our lives based on what we are afraid might happen. We just have to, you know, go forward and take our best shot and not worry about it, you know?
Yeah.
Unlike life, well, you can't compare life and video because you can go back and cut out the bad parts. But
Yeah.
I guess you just forget the bad parts in
Yeah.
life. But nevertheless, you get my point. Don't live your life based on what might happen. That's my word for the day.
Hello, Joel, and thanks for stopping in. Joel Forner's here. You can see his comment, can't you?
I can see it in my courtesy monitor, but I'm not seeing it elsewhere.
That's okay.
In my courtesy monitor, it's kind of small. That's why I'm squinting sometimes.
Oh, okay.
There's Joel. Hey,
Yeah.
Joel, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah. Any rate, Ecamm for me turned out to be much easier to use than what I was playing around with. I had Wirecast, which was a rather expensive program, but I just couldn't make it work the way I wanted it to. I did make some recorded videos for family and friends, and and I stopped playing with it. And then, as I said, Hope, my wife, passed away, and I got involved with ECAM, found it was so much easier to do, and decided, everybody has an expiration date. Mine isn't here yet. I always say I'm retired and not expired. But what makes life worth living is what happens between now and my expiration date. What can I do? Do I have to sit around and mope? Do I have to sit around and worry about tomorrow? Or do I just come out and have fun? And to me, ECAM is fun. I really enjoy it. Any rate, that's why I got involved in ECAM. And because Doc and Alec and the others that I've watched have all made it seem so simple to use. I'm making up a new word like Doc would. It's so important that we press into
It rhymes with dimple though, and we have cute ones, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen. For my age, I'm damn good looking.
Well,
You ought to see my two brothers. Not only did I get the brains, but I got the looks. They got nothing.
Well, they must be some dumb, ugly guys. That's all I can say.
Well, at least that's what I tell them.
Yeah.
So,
Somebody has to keep them humble, right?
yeah, and I'm good at that. I'm quick at knocking them down whenever I can. But that's
Mike,
that's.
why don't you share with the group maybe some of the things that we're going to be doing in the future? Have you got a couple ideas that you've been tossing around?
Well, one of the ideas is that we're actually going to talk more about Tommy's magic, and he's going to perform a illusion or two for us. Also, I want to talk, to the older people around and talk about what it's like to be a senior citizen. The ups and downs, the things that, what is it they used to say? It now takes me all day to do what I used to do all day. And, there are things that come along when you're getting older that you don't expect. You know they're coming, but you just figure it's no big deal. The strange thing is, and I suppose a lot of people feel the same thing, until I look in a mirror, I don't feel old. But then when I get up in the morning and put in my false teeth and my hearing aids and my glasses, and I take a long look in the mirror, I say, okay, you're getting there. What can I say? At 74 years old, in December, I will be 3/4 of a century. But there's a lot of things, especially in my community. I believe everybody, or not everybody, but most people that have seen me before understand that I live in a gated retirement community, and the average
And
age.
What's it called, Michael?
Wrinkle City.
Wrinkle City, right?
Well, that's what I call it. The map calls it Sun City, but I call it Wrinkle City because everyone here is wrinkled.
I don't think they'd put that on the brochure, would they?
No. The thing is that you can lose your train of thought real quick when somebody's talking to you. The people here. I was going to say that the people here, the average age is probably late 70s. But a lot of people in their 80s and 90s, and we have at least two people in town that I know that are over 100. So there's obstacles that come along. People jokingly, and they mean no disrespect by it, but the ambulance runs here, they must go out 15, 20 times a day. And people joke that that's the theme song of Sun City, is the ambulance siren, because there's always somebody sick and hurt or unfortunately dying, and so I think being able to talk about some of the problems we have as senior citizens and how I work around them and how others work around them might be beneficial. What do you think? It's okay to say something, Tom.
I was reading that comment from
Oh.
Carlos there, and he was talking about it. He's spends a lot of time at the Magic Castle out in Hollywood. Yeah, great place. That's kind of like Mecca for magicians.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, you know what? To your point, Michael, I think it kind of got what demonstrated or maybe illustrated by that movie, and I don't remember the name of it. I can't think of it off the top of my head, which is another one of the issues that we have sometimes. I can remember something from 60 years ago, like it was yesterday, but I can't remember where I put my car keys this morning. But
That's part of getting old.
but there was a movie about the senior citizens that were living in the residence, similar to what you were doing, and they started swimming in the pool where the alien was living, and they started revitalizing themselves. Was
Yes.
it a Cocoon, maybe?
Yes.
Was it
Yeah.
Cocoon?
And
Yeah.
and Don Amici was
Yeah.
in it. And now
Yeah.
there's probably people listening that have no idea who Don Amici was, but
Well, yeah. International Showtime. That goes back a long, long way. But,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's see.
But in that movie, these senior citizens were slipping over to the pool area at night, and they were one of the few folks that were actually using the pool. But there was a alien uh, orb in the bottom of the pool, and every time they swam, the pool would kind of light up, and they would be bestowed on, like, for lack of a better term, it was like the fountain of youth. They started feeling a lot younger, acting a lot younger, and all their friends around them were just like, "What's going on with y'all?" But don't you wish that we could do that same thing? And in some ways, we do, because, like the Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he."
Yeah.
You got to have a mental attitude, that
And-
accommodates that.
And that's one of the things that I have found with the people in Sun City. And by the way, Jeff, the population is, I'm guessing, between 1,800 and 2,000. But at any rate,
And wait,
one-
it's 1798 and 1998 now.
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute. It's 1796, and I can't do the math quick enough. Sorry, I was
okay.
talking about diminishing.
Yeah.
Population.
Anyway, I have found
More
that
evidence.
a lot of the older people here in Sun City, unfortunately, they've outlived their retirement. They they saved for their retirement. They moved to a community like this, but prices went up and the retirement didn't get any higher. So a lot of them have poor mental attitudes. I have talked to several of my friends who know that I do this, and they say, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm too old to learn that." They're not, but I can't convince them. And you're right. You have to have the mental attitude that I'm okay, you're okay, and I'm moving on. But that's one of the problems with the seniors here. The other one is some of them really need to lose their driver's license because you cannot believe the number of accidents we have in the area, and close accidents. And we're a community that allows golf carts to be used on the streets. And so if you don't want to drive your car, you can drive a golf cart. And they'll go tearing through the streets with those golf carts like there's no tomorrow, and they're the only ones on the street. So they need to slow down. They need to
You know
get.
what? You know what, Michael? You ought to slip over there one night and take the battery cables off of their battery. So that,
Well, with the exception
Yeah.
that almost everyone in Sun City has a golf cart. Now, I don't. I don't need one. But before my wife passed away, she actually thought she wanted one. And we talked about it and decided that it wasn't something we needed right away. And I'm kind of glad we didn't get one, because I wouldn't be using it now, and that she's gone. So anyway, a quote from my grandfather.
well, you mentioned outliving their pension. I was had breakfast with a good friend of mine this morning. He's actually the voice of Alabama basketball radio broadcasts and baseball, and he sits next to Eli Gold during the football broadcast for the University of Alabama. But he spoke to my brotherhood group this morning, and he made a funny comment. He said he's got an 11-year-old son, and that's his pension plan because this kid's a really good golfer. So he's hoping that he'll get in the money and take care of his old dad when he reaches that age. Of course, I told him I have a better pension plan. I'm just going to go to Target and slip down in the aisle, and I'll sue him.
Yeah.
So,
Well-
man, isn't that a great way to make a pension?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, if the money were getting tight, I suppose I could always be a greeter at Walmart.
There you go.
yeah,
You
well-
look good in a blue vest. You know
Yeah,
that?
and you just stand there and you smile and you say, "Welcome to Walmart." Grab your shit and get out. You know,
Yeah.
but that's the way the old people would handle it. I used to be a gentleman, but then I found out there didn't seem to be any future in that. So, at any rate,
Chivalry is not dead, believe me.
no, not at all. Gage is he's looking for dinner. It's tough. He can wait. He wants a bone, folks.
Is that him barking in the background, or is that a chair squeaking?
Oh, that was my chair squeaking. No, he doesn't bark. When I put him down, he stays down. He's very well
sounded
trained.
like he-
Very well trained.
Yeah. He sounded like he had laryngitis.
Yeah. Walmart would be so much more entertaining. Yeah, it would. I guess he liked my comment on being a greeter. Thank you, Caleb. And Gretchen. Mr. Dad was delighted that older and most people he saw looked younger. He was 80. I look at people that are my age and maybe slightly older, and I can't believe that they don't look as good as I do. What can I say?
I guess it just depends on.
Carlos,
What kind
thank you.
of-
Excuse me, Carlos is leaving us, but thank you so much for coming, Carlos. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. Come back.
Yes.
Come back.
I would wave goodbye, but if I put my hand up in front of the camera, it changes the settings. It's one of those PTZ cameras that will follow me anywhere I go. And right now I've got it pointed straight at me and locked there. But if I put up my hand, it will then start to follow me. If I move this way, the camera will go, and I don't want that. So I don't bother.
Your camera sounds like Gage a little bit. Just follows you wherever you go.
Oh,
right?
he does. He does. He's finally learned that there's 3 bathrooms in the house, and the one just outside my studio here is too small for the 2 of us, and he's not happy about that. But Jeff is leaving us too. Jeff, thank you so much. And we'll
Thank
see
you,
you.
Jeff.
Yeah, we'll see you around town. See you in office hours. The question being, how do you actually feel? You know, if somebody were to ask me how old I actually feel, I would say probably early 50s. I mean, I have a few aches and pains, but I don't feel like I'm 74 years old. And 40 years old who already acts like they. Yeah, I know those kind of people too. I just wish that I could find people here in Wrinkle City that were old but feeling young. We don't have dances. We don't have a bowling alley. We don't have a movie theater. Their big thing is to go shopping at the grocery store and go shopping at the secondhand store. And that's about it. Or go out to dinner periodically. Those that are comfortable enough financially to afford to go out to dinner on a regular basis. Other than that, they don't do anything but sit home and stare at the television. I ask people when we talk about why don't you do something with your computer, and they said, I do. I check my email. And I said, well, damn, you can do that on your phone. Why don't you do something with the computer that's constructive? Learn Microsoft Word and write letters, or send text through. I can send text through my phone. I know, but you can also do it through your computer. They won't let their mind open up and try something new. What can I say?
Well, it would be sad for them to lose the life experiences that they could be putting down on paper or on the screen as a legacy for their kids. And you would hope their kids would want to read those kind of stories. I know I was always fascinated when my dad was alive with the stories that he would tell. And I've done a few podcasts called Remembering Dad, where I shared some of those stories. Mm-hmm. And but he was a character. And so anyway, but yeah, well, if they had bowling alleys and picture shows now, that you can tell I'm old. Do you think they would go, or would they just sit empty?
I don't know. Caleb asked what we do for entertainment, and there's really not a whole lot here. Now, there is a town, probably 18 miles away, that does have movie theaters and bowling alleys and lots of restaurants and nightclubs and stuff. So the people that can get to it will go to those, but mostly it's just whatever is on their mind, going and watching TV or just sitting. We do have a library, and yet when you go in there, the librarian will tell you, "Oh, you're the third person I've seen today, and it's already 4:00." They won't even go to the library and get a book. And Jeff wanted to know if I've managed to get any converts to streaming, and the answer to that is no. But who knows? I might eventually. That might be something, as if I can get somebody to come on with us as a guest, one of the seniors, and interview them about being a senior and retired and what they do for fun, or what they do to make life worth going on with. And getting them to share their stories. And let's see, Gretchen had a comment. It sounds like they need to be there, Doc, and teach them. I would teach them if they'd let me. I would teach them and show them how to do it. Any rate, I try a little bit every day. Every time I talk to someone, they'll say, "What are you up to?" And I'll say, "Streaming on the internet." "Oh, that must be fun." "Yeah, and I can show you how to do it." But we'll see.
Well, a lot of people fear or of our age group fear technology. One, because they think they're going to break it, But sometimes you may have to start before you go to streaming. Maybe get them comfortable using their computer and their iPad and doing something other than just checking. Get them on FaceTime with one another. An iPhone now will actually do FaceTime on an Android phone, so it's not platform specific. Yeah, and maybe if you could get your group actually FaceTiming one another, it would give them a feel for what it was like to be on camera and to just engage socially, with a camera as well as a text message,
Right.
So,
right.
Who knows? Well. It just depends on whether people are willing to think younger, or are they just surrendering to life? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
I have a problem in that in my mind, I feel like I'm about 25. Now my body will say, "Oh wait, Tommy, you're you're not 25. So, you're not going to get in the front yard and play tackle football with your grandkids, or if I do, I'll pay the price the next day. But, that's the opposite side of the spectrum. You think you're young, and so you're taking on tasks that physically you might have an issue with. So, and one of the and I don't mean to elaborate on this, but one of the biggest fears that a lot of folks have is the fear of falling, because what that does to seniors when they fall. It is a whole different can of worms than, that 11-year-old taking a spill. So anyway, just get them comfortable with it. But I think there's a lot of stories out there, and I hope, Mikey, that everybody will understand in this live that we don't want to be a travel brochure for senior citizens' homes, but by the same token, Mike, as being an ex-Marine, and me being in the business that I'm in, and the diversity of the stuff that I've done in life with magic and sales and all, that we all have some stories that we can tell. Because I love to tell stories. I love to tell jokes. And if you've seen any of my Vlogmas broadcasts, you can pretty much pick up on that. So anyway, I'm hoping we can get into more of that, and maybe not drill down on how old we are, but how good looking we are. That's what we drill down on. So take off my Clark Kent glasses and show everybody. There you go.
Look at that.
We look 20 years younger just taking our glasses off.
I know. Maybe we ought to do what Doc did. He got laser surgery on his eyes.
Yeah, but I kind of like my Harry Potter glasses, though. I'm like Harry Potter grown up. That's who I am. You know who Harry Potter is, don't you, Mike?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, they made some movies about him.
Yeah.
So,
and made a fortune.
That's right.
But I know why you liked it. It was all about magic.
That's why I refer to you as a muggle.
Anyway, bringing somebody on and interviewing them might be an idea. People are not aware here what's available on YouTube. A lot of them are of the assumption that the only thing that's on the computer, and that's why they don't go to it, is stuff they wouldn't want to be involved in, pornography or whatnot. But there's far more on YouTube than that. In fact, I'm here. I want to hear more about what it's like to be 25. Bring it here. Jeff, I guess Jeff didn't know you were a magician, but he's a magician. Anyway.
Usually when I tell people I'm a magician, they look at me real straight-faced and say, really, what instrument do you play?
The magic wand.
Magician.
Yeah. How long did it take you to learn some of those tricks that I've seen you do?
My mother said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a magician when I grow up. And he said, you can't do both. So, it all varies. Some of the things that I do, like with cards, some of them are what we call self-working. Others involve sleight of hand or psychological abilities and skills. So it just kind of depends. One of the things I did recently, it was just a little quickie that I posted, it took a long time. And normally when I did a gig this past week for a foundation that raises money for kids to play sports, deserving kids that can't do the fees and things. And one of the persons there asked me, how long it takes to learn magic. And I said, well, you're looking at 40 years of practice, self-denial, and 0 dates in college.
Yeah.
So it's a sacrifice sometimes.
Yeah. And then I assume that you have to practice before you go and actually do a show?
You
put
know
together
what?
your
I
routines.
have a repertoire now of things that I know will work for the what we call the lay audience, non-magicians that don't.
I lost you. Where'd your mic go?
I'm going to go to my studio mic because I think my Rode might have just died or
Oh,
something.
okay.
But I'm in my studio here. What was I saying? I don't even remember what I was saying now.
All right. Just to say, I want to say goodbye to Caleb because he's obviously in Europe and it's midnight there. But Caleb, thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, as we say in Alabama, bless your heart. You need to go to bed.
Yeah, get some sleepy time. That happens in Sun City. About 7 o'clock, we roll up the sidewalks, and everybody goes to bed except me. I mean, you can pretty much. Oh, Doc's here. Hey, Doc, welcome. I'm glad. I don't know if you were here earlier, but we had a few hiccups. But we used the old Doc adage, keep right on going. So we did. Any rate, what was I saying? See, that's what happens when you get old. Any rate, it's been a great time. I appreciate the fact that you come on finally, and I appreciate that you're here, and I appreciate your friendship, as I do with all of those that are watching. Like I say, come to where everybody knows your name, and we're very glad you came. What do you think, Tommy?
That's all what it's all about, buddy. It's a fellowship, whether it's face to face or virtual, over the streaming mechanisms and the interaction that the technology allows us to have. So, and like I said earlier on in the broadcast, where else can you find a more friendly, supportive group than the Ecamm Live community? It's amazing. It really is amazing.
It is.
Kind of reminds me of the old Mac user groups that I belonged to.
Yeah,
Where we
yeah.
all got together and talked about operating systems and HyperCard and all sorts of stuff.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
that kind of feeling.
I remember HyperCard.
Yeah. I know Doc remembers HyperCard. He used to use it all the time. But
Well, Doc's
and it's fun. It's funny. I'll just make this quick. When I first started using the Mac, there was probably 5 people in Birmingham that had Macs. Everybody was DOS based, blinking cursors, and then Windows ripped them off. But nevertheless, there was a very, very, very small, tight knit community of Mac users, and it just blesses my heart to go in the Apple store these days and see all those people enjoying those Macs. It's just crazy, and it's wild, and it gives you kind of a warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
So
Jeff is asking when the next one is, and
I would say about 30 minutes, right?
yeah. And Doc says he misses the old Mac user groups. When I first started, I think I used AOL as a browser.
You got mail.
You got mail, and you went to user groups and things within AOL, and then something called Netscape came out, and you could actually browse the internet. And I tried that for a while, but I've always been on Macs. My first Mac was that little box, the first Mac that came out, and I've kept current ever since then.
Well, I had an Apple IIc for a long time, and then I bought a Mac Classic, which was the cheaper Mac all-in-one that they came out with for the bulk of us, the rest of us, I guess. And I had a SE30 for a while, but I can remember having the first hard drive in my SE30. It was 20 megabytes, and I was told it was all of the space that I would ever need when using the Mac. 20 megabytes.
Yeah.
And we just ate up 20 megabytes in the last 3 seconds of recording this video.
So, sure.
Yeah. it's I used to go to Macworld too, Doc, and that was like, going to Nirvana someplace, because all those vendors were there, and they would have the demos, and they would give away software, and I learned how to do the little magic fold of the card with your name on it so that it would pop to the top when they shook it up, with hopes that they would grab that one. And it was wild. It was crazy. I went to the one in San Francisco out at the Cow Palace. I think
Yeah.
that's what they called it.
No, it was at the Moscone Center.
Moscone Center. That's right. Cow
Yeah.
Palace, I think. Is in
I went
Dallas.
to him every year. Even when I was working in Canada, I would fly down for Macworld. Then it went by the wayside. And
Yep.
but I used to have a great time because you'd go and you'd buy stuff that you absolutely didn't need. I mean, that was the beginning of gas attacks, Doc. It was when you went to Macworld and they convinced you've got to have this program, or you've got to have this piece of hardware. And I
But
gave in.
there's one piece of software that I still use to this day that came out not in the very beginning, but shortly thereafter. It was FileMaker Pro.
Yep.
FileMaker. I still use that every day in my business, and wow, I mean, it's changed a lot. It's gotten a lot more sophisticated. It was just a flat file database for a long time, but what a great piece of software. So
Yeah, I've used it for years. In fact, I used it in the mortuary. I designed my contracts on it, and I would fill them in as I was talking to the people, and then just hit print, and it would print out the whole contract and show them exactly what they've asked for and what they're going to get. And
I run all my Magic contracts right off of a FileMaker database that I made called GigBase, and it just acts the way I want it to act. I didn't have to adapt somebody else's software to it, and it was great. But hey, who can forget Lotus 123? Do you remember that?
oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, wow.
It will.
What's he saying? I met Ken and Glenn at Macworld 2000. I wouldn't think they would be old enough to be at Macworld in 2012.
Maybe their mom and
Oh,
dad
they-
brought them.
Yeah, they were they in strollers? Don't
Fortunately,
tell them
they're
I said that.
fortunately they're not on here. We'd be blocked.
Yeah, they probably feel good.
Yeah. I don't know how old do you think how old are they, Doc? They don't look very old. I put them at mid-20s. Am I right?
I bet you 26 and 28. That's would be my bet.
Well, they can't be different. They're twins.
Oh, that's true. That's a long gestation period, isn't it?
Yeah.
So sorry.
Oh yeah. Remember that one? Super Calc.
Yeah, yeah. And when did Excel come out? I mean, that was after Lotus 123. I know, because it never was anything other than a graphical interface. But
Well, Alex says that Lotus 123 just brought back terrible memories.
yeah, sorry about that.
I can't believe it. Doc says they're in their mid-40s. They don't look it.
No way. No way. Wow.
They
That is
don't look
unbelievable.
it. Now, there's two guys that don't look their age. Unlike you, Tommy.
Wow, I would have never thought they were that old.
No,
Wow.
me either.
Thank the Lord for them, man. Good guys.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
amazing how responsive they are to
that's-
people's requests and needs.
That's what I was just going to say is they've been very, very responsive. They're always trying to put out, whatever people ask for, if it's possible. I mean, I've asked for a couple of things that I don't even know if they're possible, but at any rate, I've never known anyone in the software industry, 55 and still alive. Doc says he's cute for 55. You see that?
Yeah, I can't wait to see him without his glasses, though. I haven't seen him yet.
He
Sans the
he
glasses.
he didn't have them on last night.
Well, he was wearing those Clark Kent glasses like readers for a day or two, I think, afterwards. And I was looking for the cape, behind him. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm digging a pretty big hole with Doc here, I think, in my comments. But he knows I love him.
Yeah. And if he where is it? I'm trying to think here. If he wants to show you what if he wants to show you what he looks like, he can use that link and show you. Any rate, we were talking about the boys, but I'm just amazed at
The men.
yeah. Well, now
Man.
I've been calling them the boys for ever since I've been around. I actually thought they were in their in their mid-20s. I really did. But what can I say?
I have
not-
a question for some of you that might know the answer to this, and that's this: how old is the ECAM company in its current? I'm assuming it's been this, ECAM for however long it's been ECAM, but how old is this application now?
Doc just put up a comment a minute ago that said it's been around since 1999.
99.
So
Wow.
it's
I didn't
20,
realize that.
22 years old.
I did not know it was that old. That's
But in
know,
20
my-
in 22 years, they're only on version what? What version?
3.
3?
I don't know.
Wait a
It's a
minute.
bunch of numbers and letters. That's all I know. It sounds like a BMW.
Yeah. Preview, check for update.
It's a 374C.
Yeah, it's they're only on version 3.9 of the actual program itself. So from
Well, maybe the 3 is actually the decade that it's out. So
Yeah.
1 was first decade. I'm just making this up.
oh well,
ECAM Live.
is about 5. So even though
Wow.
eCams
Oh.
have been around since 1999, the live version has only been around for about 5 years. He says they started with iChat Utilities and Printopia. I don't even remember Printopia. I remember the name, but I don't remember anything else about it. Oh well.
Printopia. Not familiar with that. What's Joel saying? They made the product before ECAM. Didn't they make Skype? I can't
Recorder.
read that. My
It says,
type is too
Didn't
small.
they
My
said
courtesy
didn't they
monitor.
make Skype call recorder 2 RC?
Okay.
And I don't know.
But ECAM, as we know and love it right now, is basically 5 years old. Then, okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah. So, any rate, Skype call recorder is like 15, according to Doc. So, evidently, they were involved in Skype call recorder also. But 40 years old, mid 40s? My God, I can't believe it. But they're doing well. And Ken is taking care of his ducks. At mid 40s, he's got ducks.
Well, one reason I think probably they are doing so good is they surround themselves with good people.
They
People
do.
that love what they do,
They do. They do.
and isn't that the truth in a lot of
and-
cases?
Well, and the whole eCam community is surrounded with basically good people.
Yeah.
So they're. I'm just extremely comfortable. I've always been amazed at how, from the first time I came on, I was welcomed as if they'd known me for years. They're always available to help. What can I say? It's just a really wonderful community. I've never found anything like it on the computer.
You know what, Mike? I'm gonna give you a little constructive criticism. No, actually, I'm just gonna make this comment. Rather than buy Gage a bone, I think we need to buy you a can of WD-40
Oh, for my chair?
chair. Yeah, I hear it. And I'm thinking it's dogs barking in the background. I'm like,
No.
what's Gage after now?
No, I tell you, when I tell him down, he stays there until I tell him he can get up. So he's not barking. It's the chair.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've been thinking about buying one of those gaming chairs, but I don't know which one to get. So every time I look at one and think I'm going to pull the trigger, I back off and think, oh God, I hope it'll hold me up because I'm 270.
Well, I'm thinking about pulling the trigger and upgrading my iPhone to the 13. I only have the 12, and my only concern was that I used the DJI what do you call it, gimbal for the phone, and I know that Doc showed it once on office hours, but he said something about the it being a little bit heavier, and it worked, but there was a workaround. I don't know, and I don't know. I'm thinking about it because of the difference in video quality, and
Well, you can always put it on your M3, your Crane M3.
well, that's
gimbal.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Doc says they can't hear the chair, so you're the only one hearing it, and that's okay. Oh, wait
I
a minute.
wonder why.
Gretchen says that it sounds like her knee replacement, so maybe she can hear it.
Oh, that's funny, Gretchen.
Yeah. Any rate, I think that's about
How,
it.
how do we get out of here? We didn't
Oh.
plan the ending of this, did we?
I know. Well, we're going to do several things. We're going to remind those that don't already know, who might be watching in a replay, that you can leave your comments and questions in the replay, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. And if you come across us by accident and you think you're too old for this, just remember that your future is now. You're not too old. We do it, and you can too. So, thank everybody for showing up. I truly appreciate it. And I'm sure Tommy does too, because he finally showed up. And, and catch us on the replay. Let us know what you think.
Fault.
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault, people.
Yeah. And criticism is okay. Really, it is. If we're doing something wrong, let us know. Till then,
If you can't say something good, say something bad, okay?
yeah, exactly. It's all right. You can't
That's
hurt
right.
our feelings. We're too old. Our feelings died a long time ago. We don't feel anything.
We don't care.
Yeah. Take care, everybody, and thank you so much. And we'll see you next time around. Bye bye for
We
now.
love y'all.
Bye
We love
bye.
y'all. Take care.